Jason.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing? So great to meet you. How are things?
Yeah, they're good. They're really good. I'm gonna rename myself so you have the full three name experience.
I like that. I
How
like
are you?
that.
How
Yeah,
are
that's
you?
all good. I've only got two names for you to look at, so sorry about
It's
that.
it's just it just is my whatever. It's crazy. Where are you? Your room looks lovely.
I'm actually in Toronto.
Oh, what a great city. Such
It
good
is.
food.
Yes. You've shot here before, haven't you?
We shot the pilot for Fringe there.
Right.
Um,
That's right. Yeah.
and I had one of the coldest in like an insane snowy time period.
Sorry about
Um,
that. Yeah.
anyway, no, it
Yeah.
was great though. And there was like that Winterfest. There's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yeah.
whole
Yeah.
area. Such
Yeah.
good food.
We have some great, oh yeah, great food. No question about it. Listen, you're truly one of my favorite actors because I see you in everything. I flip the channel, there you are. Another show, another movie, another whatever. You're in everything. You're a busy guy. And I got to tell you, this movie, The Big Ben, it really was quite moving. And it was I didn't know what to expect from it. I really enjoyed this film. And this character that you play, Corey, he is going through a lot of stuff. I
A
don't really
lot.
want to give a
He
lot
is.
away. But I have to ask you because, like I say, you're such a busy guy. You get offered so many different roles. What was it about this one? Because it's, independent film, but there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, that is such a great question. I'm so thankful for it. I part of it is I have long before the pandemic, I was like, what are we putting out in the world? Where's the sense of humanity and compassion and story and nuance and storytelling? And lately, to the extent that I've had more of a control and saying yes and no to things, I have been more and more interested in telling stories that I think are important to tell, and especially that help nuance what people are going through. And I appreciate all kinds of genres, but what I loved about this one is that it was just this guy, this family, he and his wife love each other, they get along, they've got two beautiful daughters and they're friends. So these two groups of friends that have things going on in their individual families and in their individual selves, and they're just trying to get by. And then you add the element of being together out in the vast beatific wonderland that is this national state park, and it somehow shifts energy. I don't know about you, and it's a different reason, but in the last week alone, I think we're all still, I mean, this again has nothing to do with the movie. It's just more about human nature that I have so many friends that colossal changes are happening, which are definitely a direct result of the last year and a half of looking at our lives and how are we living and what do we want and what makes us happy. And so, it was a great gift of the script that Brett Wagner wrote and then directed. And then, I just think I also think the movie is shot so beautifully, and Paul Atkins, our DP, he just, not only did he catch the landscape, which is actually hard to do, it's beautiful, it's vast, but also he caught things, in us and nuances of us that we didn't know, that I think tell the story pretty gorgeously well.
Yeah. And, yes. And you're working with this, it's a tight bond of people here. Like, you don't have a huge cast. So you're playing these friends. Did you guys all kind of just immediately hit it off?
We did. It's so funny. It takes a certain kind of actor and a certain kind of human who wants to make a film like this at this lower budget point, and to a place where you're going to be really, really remote and not have certain qualities of life or access to your cell phone, because there's no cell phone tower. So it takes a certain kind of person. I come from the theater. That's where all my training and everything began. So I'm all about company oriented. I knew Virginia casually from New York and her incredible theater career. But so I knew she would be game for it. And then Dave and I just really hit it off really, really well and just dove in. And, there's something about a company and the crew too. Like, it's a skeleton crew of about 25, 30. And it's impossible to really articulate, to get there, you fly to El Paso, drive 3 hours to Marfa, which is beautiful, where they shot I Love Dick, that series. And then you go another 2.5 hours to this. It takes a really, it's a long time. And there was one time when, like, one of the girls had heat exhaustion, and and Delilah, and she like collapsed in my arms, and they drove her 2 hours to Alpine to no, sorry, she collapsed in my arms, they got her back, and then Zoe they had to take her to Alpine. So anyway, you're in like a very, very remote place. But
right. Well, I want to ask you about that location because first of all, it looked steaming hot. As you say, you've got this vast wilderness. You don't know what's gonna like pop out at you, snakes, whatever. Like, were you guys nervous? Like, how did you keep that all under control?
I think I love the adventure of it. I genuinely do. That said, I'm not, these aren't exaggerations. Like we were staying in this area, like these little sort of motel. They're fine. Nobody would really, it's not luxe at
whatever.
all. Going, so they had said like, oh, kick your sheets before you get in. And I was like, why? And I didn't trust them. But I had like a little scorpion, and the little ones are the most venomous ones, poisonous ones. Yeah. So I had a scorpion in my sheet one night. I had a tarantula that walked across my doormat. When you would get home at night, you wouldn't leave your light on outside or the curtains open because the bugs, there's so many bugs that they would go to the light. And then if you came into your room, they would fly in your room with you. Yeah. So you would get out with your iPhone, the light to use. And then I just was trying to get the key in the hole. And I suddenly see like a tarantula below me that sort of freaked me out, but it's still just heaven. And then I swam in the Rio Grande on a day off with some crew members. And it was those are the things. When I was in grad school, I went to grad school at NYU, and I couldn't afford the book, but Sense and Sensibility had come out, Emma Thompson's movie. Yeah. And I would go to the Barnes and Noble and read. She has a published diary of their experience making that film in the English countryside, where I was like, this is all I've ever wanted, to be in a kind of a Merchant Ivory kind of, we're all together where we're in these period costumes doing this movie all day, and then we're in the bar of a little B&B at night. So this is the American version of that dream for me.
That's okay. Yeah, that's awesome. I would love to do that, but I have to say, these kids, freaking adorable. Were they fun to work with?
They are the best. I mean, it was like 120, and so there's that, and also all so far away. So to get to that one house, which is in the middle of nowhere, takes time, and then to be waiting on any film set, and there isn't really a holding area because the holding area outside is 120 degrees, so you have to be in each other. But those guys, they're both in real life are siblings. Obviously, the Wagner girls' daughters, who are writer director's daughters, they're related and so beautiful and idiosyncratic and wonderful. And their mom, Catherine, is a genius who is also game for this adventure for their family and excited for them to really do something new. And then on the other hand, Gray and Gavin, and there's a little brother who's not in the film, but he was like a 1-year-old. That Cassandra Wilson and their mom came, and they were so game and so fun and so hilarious, especially the younger one, Gavin. Yeah. So really, really, really funny.
Good. I'm glad that it all worked, that you had a really good cast, because that's important, obviously, when you're working on a film like this. I was going to say, look, you've been working for so many years, your background in theater, but I love everything that you do because you're so versatile. Jason, honestly, like when you look at some of the roles that you've done, whether it's in Ozark or even just recently on the series Next, like I love when you play the baddie. Like you're so good at that. You must have so much fun when you get a script and you're like, yay, I get to play the bad guy.
It's funny. I go through, you go through periods and you never know how your career is going to go. And when I was doing a play on Broadway called The Coast of Utopia, and at that point, especially theatrically, I was playing a lot of erudite, well thinkers, contemplative souls, emotionally accessible guys. And I was like, God, I always have to cry. I never get to do anything dangerous. And then I got my first big film, which was Changeling, a Clint Eastwood film, where it was the first time I played a baddie. And I was like, this is so exciting. He's a serial killer and these are his things. And then I do, as I always do, tremendous research and discovered what was going on. But that sort of cast the die for a while. The die was cast for a while of playing baddies. Right. And then what happens though, is I'm sure other people can get sort of typecast in a way. Then people keep seeing things where you're like, I'm not doing anything. But people
Yeah.
will be like, you're so creepy. And I was like, I'm literally just sitting here talking to you and you're projecting everything. So one of the things that I loved about this film was that I get to be this normal guy with a family and wife, and I don't have to kill anybody. I don't have to clench my jaw. I don't have to, I just get to be in another state. But I like changing it up in the same way that I like doing television and film and theater at all at different budgets. I just, it makes me feel, I like that. And I also always like the challenge of something that's new. And this was new for me, not so much the adventure of being, I mean, obviously to be in that part of the country, and learning about something about that part of the country that I have a lot of preconceived notions about, which changed a bit. But also just to deal with them, like what he's deciding, what he's trying to do to save his family, and how do you live in that in a way that isn't boring to watch, frankly, for an audience. You're like, why is that guy in the funk the whole time?
I was freaking out over the looming water tank. That water tank was driving. Oh my God. Like,
it's so weird.
Again, don't want to say anything, but that water tank was one of the best characters in the film.
That's so good. That's the like 9th character in the film, the water. Yeah, that's funny.
That was crazy. I got to wrap up. You mentioned The Changeling, and I want to ask you, because you were directed by Clint Eastwood. Come on. What do you learn like from a man like that, a veteran actor like that and director? And then going forward, what do you take from learning from somebody like that?
I'll tell you what I learned, and it's the way that spoiled me the most. I learned that you can have a day that's like 9 to 5. Basically that's like you can have a reasonable day. Obviously, I'm sure anybody who watches film has been watching about the IATSE strike and the quality of life. And you can film a film in a reasonable amount of time where everybody has normal turnaround. That's a big thing for my Canadian crews, which I care very much about my crews, but in Canada where there's different turnaround times and everybody lives far away. So a thing can happen. I also really respect about him that you can trust people to do their job when you hire well. You can trust your department heads. You can trust them so that when you get there isn't this micromanagerial frenetic level of I've got to be in control of everything. And it just adds for energy on set. And he doesn't, I'm sure people know, you don't get many takes with Clint. So you got to show up ready to play. And also, which I like, it's easy. It's better in terms of all actors knowing that you're going to get 2 takes and maybe that's it. So you better be ready. Yeah. And also, he never calls action or cut. Because these are all stories that people know, but basically he worked with horses and it would spook the horses and then they wouldn't be good for the takes. I love it being simple and that the energy is all focused and you can have fun, but you're doing something together. So it really spoiled me because I've certainly been in a lot of other sets, especially on television, where as we crunch for, larger page count, larger kinds of estimable things happen in smaller amounts of time. And also just, egos that are different and people freak out in different ways. And it was a great lesson of it doesn't have to be that way. And it was the same with Jason Bateman, actually. Like Jason.
Oh, what a great director he is. Yeah. Yeah.
He's great. And I shadowed him on 3 episodes that he directed. And what I appreciate is his respect for every person's job and that he has a different way of having fun. Everybody should have fun while you're filming it and everyone should feel safe and cared for. So that's the idea that, especially with Clint, my first movie out of the gate, that a big budget movie, that it can happen as relatively seamlessly as possible without a lot of drama and egos. That was a great lesson that for other times where I've been not in that situation, that it doesn't have to be this way. And anybody who says like that's how it is just full of crap.
Yeah, I hear you. Listen, I really appreciate your time today. You were really, like I said, so good in The Big Band. I hope we see you in more TV series and things coming up. I'm sure we will.
I hope so too.
Yeah, get it out there. We need more of you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today and best of luck with the film. It really is a good one. You did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jason.